I've got hot breaking crypto news to share with you. We're also going to talk XRP price, getting into BTC mining. Recession fears and tariffs plunge the market into red.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Oh, and happy last day of March to you all. Boy, is there a bunch of red up on the screen. But before we get into the crypto news, you the viewer matter most. It's where share your comments at the beginning of every video. Happy motherfucking Monday, everyone. Andrew Burrow Cinematic starts us off and says, Crypto Sensei is an absolute clown. Pure hopium and BS. Every video has a different price prediction. Erag Crypto on Twitter is one of the worst as well, with the stupid, crazy, colorful charts that mean absolutely nothing. Born to Be says, gold is recognized globally. Crypto is not, hence tough times, metals prevail. Our time is coming in 5 to 10 years. Gold, silver markets absolutely roaring. Why? Players are thinking recession along with tariff wars. Yuta Magooch says, dude, people getting their FTX payouts, majority are done with crypto. They had enough bull market exposure not to buy tops on lots of alts. That's actually false. The majority of people that have gotten their payouts from these bankrupt companies have put their money back into crypto. In fact, over 70% of people that got their payouts from Mt. Gox put it right back into the crypto market. Sorry, you were wrong. I was right. Peace Love 983 says, if HBAR goes to 10 cents, I'll put 150K in it for the long haul. That's right. What is your dream price on your dream crypto where you would put absolute bonkers amounts of money? I've got a whole bunch of dry powder ready for some crazy insano dips. Bitcoin sitting at 82,873, ETH 1827, BAP at 601, while Sol's at 126. ADA couldn't hold 70 cents, now 64 cents. Strategic Reserve didn't help that at all. HBAR, we're talking about 16.2. XP, we're going to talk about a lot at the end. $2.09. Are we going sub $2 XRP before we get into the tariffs? We're going to find out. Oh, the big breaking news. Pi Network is now 70 cents, having dropped 66% in the last 1 month. Hold on. The producers are... Wait, hold on. The producers are handing me a piece of paper. Let me read this for you here. This is breaking news coming in. Klaus, crypto is not like golf. Lower scores in golf are different compared to lower scores in crypto. This is bad, not good. Sorry, everyone. I thought Pi going down was a good thing. I was wrong. I seriously thought it was like golf, and them shooting a 70 was a good thing because I'm usually like a mid-80s, upper 80s golfer. My bad on that, everyone. Thank you to the producers keeping track of me. What else do I got for you? BTC is down. Rest of the market is down. Closes its worst quarter in 7 years. Why? We've got recession fears. We've got macros. We've got trade wars. Let's keep learning. A significant driver, BTC's decline appears to be macroeconomic uncertainty, especially with U.S. trade tariffs. Trump's administration has announced tariffs set to begin on April 2nd, targeting imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. These tariffs, including a 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods and 10% on Chinese imports, are effective from February 4th with potential increases. Trade war? Yes. People are going to safe haven assets like gold. Let's get into some BTC mining. Why? Because the Trump family's getting into it, and players out there are like, yo, we're getting a little tired of the Trump family getting into crypto without what? Without actual juicy green up on the screen. By the way, do you notice who's deep in the red? Bro, Pi is going to melt faces. What is its mission? To get to 3.14 cents? Ooh, you like my math humor there? Hut 8 and Eric Trump launch American BTC and push to dominate mining. That's right. They don't want China to dominate. They want to dominate. Announced Monday. That's today. That's why you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out. American Bitcoin was formed by merging Hut's 8 mining operations with Trump Link Investor Group, including Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. The new company plans to scale past 50 exahashes a second while maintaining an average fleet efficiency below... I don't care about any of that shit. What I do care about is this. It's a great honor to partner with Hut 8, said Eric Trump, who will serve as Chief Strategy Officer. We're poised to strengthen our foundation, drive significant future growth. I'm sharing this story not because I think this story is a big one, But I think this is going to be big for all the BTC miners. This is telling us right now that the Trump administration is going to be more lenient with energy usage and federal restrictions when it comes to BTC mining. So if you're into mining out there, this could be some juicy times ahead. Goldman Sachs sees a 35% recession risk. Bitcoin logs its worst quarter since 2018. Trump latest tariffs, I'm telling you, it's all over the place. BTC has dropped by 23% in the last 60 days. Global market cap for crypto has also declined 5% over the last month. As per reports, Goldman now sees a slower GDP growth forecast of 1.5% instead of 2%. That is bad. That means we're not making as much money and we're not growing as fast as we should. And a higher inflation of 3.5% instead of 3%. We can all agree shit is still way too freaking expensive. It seems a piece of bad news for the economy, but rate cuts would be coming faster. No, rate cuts will not be coming faster because Jerome Powell and the Fed keep saying the same thing. Jobs in the economy are strong enough to tolerate high prices. I swear, he says this. He says that wages are juicy and that the employment market is really good, so there's no real reason. In fact, Powell's even said plenty of times we're going to leave rates higher for longer. The financial giant expects the U.S. tariff rate to jump 15 points in 2025 and 5 points ahead of its baseline forecast. Oh, shit. This is about to be the reciprocal tariff week. Basically, what's happening is this. A lot of players out there are expecting other countries to now slap the United States with reciprocal tariffs. And then we're going to have the U.S. slap them. And then before you know, we're all just going to be slapping each other. And what happens? Yeah, you know what happens. MicroStrategy loses $3 billion in 4 months. Uh-oh. So for everyone out there that said MicroStrategy was doing good and they're making money, that's a lie. In fact, MicroStrategy as a company, this last quarter will be their 5th quarter in a row of losing money as a company. I'm not talking about like their investments. I'm talking about them as a company making money or losing money. This will be their 5th quarter in a row of losses. His aggressive BTC acquisition strategy continues to result in significant losses. Michael Saylor, executive chairman of strategy and one of the most well-known institutional backers of BTC, is coming under pressure. Yeah. Dude is going to have to be put in a padded room if this keeps up. Per the most recent data, Saylor's purchases during the last 4 months have led to an astounding unrealized loss of $3 billion. So what is happening here is not only is the company losing money in terms of like revenue, profits, and that kind of stuff, they're also losing money on their investments. Strategy accumulated billions of dollars of BTC between November 2024 and March 2025. Purchase prices range from 84,000 more than 106,000. MicroStrategy bought 820,000 BTC. Okay, here's the deal. Average prices purchased 97,000. Where are we at for BTC, girlfriend? 83,000. Tons of effing losses. And just like with the Pi Network news that my producer shared with me, Klaus, losing money is bad. It's not like golf where lower is better. Sorry, everyone. I'm new to this whole news thing, and this is a shock to me. I thought lower prices were a good thing, and that Pi was on the way to melting faces. Oh, name an influencer down below that shilled the ever-living hell out of Pi. And now that you look at Pi, oh, homegirl is in deep trouble. All right, here's some interesting news for you. Flight now accepting cryptocurrency for private charter flights. This is good. Why? Because we have to use crypto for more than just speculation, right? But this is bad because how many freaking people are using private charter flights right now? Is that an everyday usage kind of thing? No, it's not. But let's keep learning. Flight, a premier provider of private air charter services, so yeah, definitely not for the majority of the market, is excited to announce it will now accept Bitcoin, ETH, and other cryptos as part of its payment for charter flights and jet card memberships. XRP had a big flight thing where you could use XRP for payment. That didn't help them at all price-wise. You're not gonna like make these cryptos moon on accepting payments for charter flights. It's cool for crypto. It's cool to show the utility and usage, right, for payments, but It's not going to move the charts. We're thrilled to embrace cryptocurrency as a payment option, providing our clients with greater financial flexibility. The reason these players are doing it is I did a story, okay, about a year ago that said companies that offer crypto as payments, like new, right? This is their new offering, right? Are bringing in a whole new clientele. So if you're a company out there, a small business that's stale, accept crypto payments. You might get some new clients. Oh, the market not looking good at all. We're only at 70 billion in volume. BTC dominant with 17 out of 100. Fear and greed, we're at 24. We got a lot of fear right now. Let's swing it on over to the price of XRP, where we got to some low numbers this morning, but I don't think low enough for any of us to pull the trigger yet on those big time purchases. But like I said, let me know down below. Very curious XRP friends and fam out there. What is your dream price-a-roni for XRP where you would drop insane amounts of cash? The low on these candlesticks got us to 202.38. We've rebounded ever so slightly since then, but you can see a definite downtrend here, especially over this last week. Now, you did see a little bit of news right here, right? That was a little bit of Brad Garlinghouse announcing that the case was over. We've wiped those gains out, girlfriend. The fears of tariff, recession, and worse macroeconomic numbers, along with a slower GDP, is stronger than any news we've gotten in regards to XRP, Ripple, in the case. But bro, no. This is the charts. You cannot tell me that this is good. You cannot tell me with a straight face, unless you're a really good psychopathic liar, that this is good. That XRP is lower now than the announcement of when there was strategic reserve action, the announcement of the case being over. We are lower than that. These tariffs, trade war, and GDP and macro concerns are erasing any of the positivity in the crypto market. The tariffs also haven't even happened yet. We're still waiting for some big macros as well. By the way, when CPI data comes out, live stream. Why? That's the biggest macro report that the Fed looks at. When the Fed has their rate announcements, live stream. Live stream. Yeah, China. Join me for all those. But let's zoom out a little bit more. I want to show you something here, okay? We're going to go to the 4-hour chart just to give us a little bit more of a perspective of what's going on. Look, sub $2 XRP, it appears we're heading that way. Is sub $2 juicy enough? Is sub 170 juicy enough? You remember Sunday, Bloody Sunday, that happened all the way back there on the 3rd of February? We got to $1.77 XRP. At the rate we're going now, we might be able to break that as well. So for those of you out there looking to do some swing plays, DCA and all that kind of fun stuff, it appears that the macros are going to give you some opportunities. Now, looking at these big pumperonis right here, look, strategic reserve announcement. That's this candlestick right here. We erased that fast within a couple of days. Case announcement, we erased that within the week. We're getting even lower now, and here's the deal. Remember that 177 I shared with you? Yeah. This is 190 on this low candlestick. This one right here is a low of 195, this one 177. So we're going to see if we have enough support to keep us north of those marks, or if the market is like, yo, girlfriend, we don't have enough dry powder because we think more pain is coming. Goldman Sachs is giving us a big warning. You got a bunch of crap out there in terms of tariff and trade wars. You got Michael Saylor in deep poo because he's been buying. And when is he buying? He's been buying the dips, the tips, and everything in between. You've got the amazing Pi network, which again, I just learned today that Pi's price going down is a bad thing. I really did. I thought Pi was different than all the other cryptos, and it was like a golf score and lower is better. So seriously, my big apologies to all of you. I don't know how crypto works. And what do you think of the sign behind me? The choo-choo bitches. No, that's not from Tony at LC Sign. I did get a quote from him. His was a bit more expensive. But I gotta share with you the news that's good or bad, happy or sad. And right now, the entire market, whether we're talking crypto, whether we're talking stock markets, gold, silver, all that kind of fun stuff, it's bad. Players are flocking right now to stable coins and safe haven assets like gold. In fact, we're seeing tons of money movement flow into those markets. all-time highs in terms of market cap with stables. Gold price, all-time highs. Why? Because they're expecting shit to be raw for a while. Now, things being raw allows for what? Allows you to buy stuff super cheap. When the gold market was getting pounded and the silver market was getting pounded, I was stacking gold and silver like a mofo. Now I've got me lots of gold and lots of silver. Why? Because that's what I use to hedge against my crypto. Crypto, super risky. Gold, boring AF. So when the prices are down on certain things, I load up on them. And then when they're high, I can dump them for some juicy profits. That's what the market's doing right now. These players, they're not into hodl mode. They're not. They're into let's make money mode. So what you're seeing is these players buying low while these assets are beat up, and then when they're high, they sell off. We saw that with XRP with institutions. Institutions dumped XRP at 250. Yeah, I shared those charts with you a few days ago. I showed you the institutional outflows for XRP were all pegged to $2.50. And once that happened, we had 5 minutes at $2.50 XRP. That price just kept going down, down, down. Now, March 10th was the bottom of the market. That was near term. It appears that we're going to be even breaching March 10th levels, which is not a good thing. Do we have good news on the horizon? Yeah. We've got regs coming. We got ETFs coming. But that is doing nothing compared to the nastiness of the trade wars and the macros that we have to digest. Now, some of you out there are going to be like, but bro, you brought us good news yesterday. I did, but hardly anyone watched it. Why? Because the algorithms didn't push it. And you have to remember, not every good news is strong enough to outweigh the bad news. The good news bubble might be a little small, a little pequeño. Maybe it's a female bubble, right? It's a little small. The CPI stuff, the macros, these are big, big things. And I've been telling you that over the last several months, haven't I? I've been telling you that as the macros are bad, and as they stay bad, and as they get worse, the strength of them is going to grow. And it's going to be macros versus El Presidente action. And I shared with you that macros are going to win if these reports stay bad, and that's what's happening right now. So if you've been watching, if you've hit the notification bell, you've been informed. And that's my job, to bring you the news, good or bad, happy or sad. So how do I end videos, everyone? Well, I'm going to share with you how I end videos. Hold on. I got to get this right. How do we end videos? Well, let's do this. We'll turn this off. There we go. Tony from LC Sign. Sorry, you were too expensive. China. I went with someone else. How do we end videos? This is how. Choo choo bitches.